it's just going live. Let me know if you can see the link on the channel. Just trying to figure that bit out. And we should be right now, should be sort of live.
Yeah, I think it's live now. Hello.
So folks, go to my YouTube channel. Murari, if you can quickly post the link to the video. Do you guys eat before a live stream or after? How about both? How about both?
Yeah. I eat all the day. Like before, after, doesn't matter. Whenever I'm hungry, I eat.
And we have view live stream on copy stream link. Okay. So folks, there's a new stream on YouTube. You should be able to join in. Let me know if you can see that. Murari, are you able to see the live stream on YouTube?
Let me check. So someone is asking, what are your backgrounds? So we are from design background. I started as a front end engineer before, but yes, I am into design since past last 6 years or 5 years. It is saying waiting for King Siddharth.
I think that's the there's a new URL I need to post. This is or if it doesn't work out, we're gonna just continue on Instagram. That's the that's the norm, like the final outcome. Okay, I see
Yep.
a live stream here, live with Murari, and it's public. I'm gonna post the link in the in here. Let me see how I can do that.
Where you guys are from? I belongs to Bihar, but I was born and raised in Delhi, and currently I'm residing in Bangalore since past 2 years.
And I think, yeah, we have it. Let me try and paste it here.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. And I'm gonna try and pin this. That's the link you gotta join, the YouTube link. I wonder if I can pin it. Yes, now it's a pin comment. That's the link you're gonna join on YouTube to check out the live. The old link somehow is not working. So I'm gonna, probably take that offline later on. So now we can, I think, get started. Please confirm if any of you joined on YouTube. We can see the live chat there. I'm just gonna enable live chat here. So Murari, you wanna get started with our first question?
Yeah, sure.
So do you have I have no screens available, so you might have to bring up the list of questions.
Okay, I have. So first question was, how do we do design documentation?
Right.
Yeah. So for that, I'll start from, we always start from auditing things. So whenever we get a problem or thing to, or a, component to build or anything to design, right? So we start from audit. What we do, we, see what is wrong with currently with the thing, what we can improve. So we always start from audit. Then we, create a set of questions or questionnaire where we ask, stakeholders why, when, where, how, to know everything about. Then we go to the, we create proposals, or sometimes we create, the entry points, use cases, breakpoints, those kind of thing we do in, design documentation. And we also, cover the interaction flow in design documentation. So let's say if you're building a component, right? So how that will behave, what would be the interaction between a user and system. So we create the interaction flow or map as well. We give the developers all the breakpoints or constraints as well. So let's say if we are building something for web and mweb is mobile web. So it changes according to the sizes, right? So if I'm using an iPad, it will be a different size. If I'm using a laptop, it will be a different size. So we give them all the breakpoints, like how it will look like on this screen, how it will look like on this screen. So this is how we do documentation. So design documentation is something where you capture whatever you are doing, right? Or the reasons, like why you did one solution over the other, right? So it's in simple words, it is something where you capture why, what, where, when, everything, right? And I recently told you the process, like we do audit, we create frameworks, we use, like we create use cases, we talk to stakeholders, we create type the or write the reasons why did we choose something. So this is how we do the design documentation. Yes.
Right. Murari, by any chance, and I know I'm like risking it on live, but by any chance, do you have any of those interaction maps that you're talking about, like user system?
I do have. I do. Yeah, I do have. Do
We
you
have
want
a
me to share
screen
that?
sharing. Yeah, like we have screen sharing, folks, and that is why you should have joined on YouTube. So I'll have to turn my entire thing so you can see it here. Yeah,
Okay,
please
I'll
share
share
your
my
screen,
screen.
Murari.
Yeah.
So this is what I this is what I have to do when you don't join on YouTube. So click that pinned comment on the links and join YouTube so you can see it more easily.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet, Murari.
Okay, wait. I think now
Yes,
you can see it.
yes, we can see the screen. You can see the screen,
Uh,
folks. I don't know, like
Amazing, amazing. So I'll start like how we do the interaction map, how we do the breakpoints and all the constants. So as you can see, this is one of the element which we call tabs, right? So we show the states like there are two states for tab. One is default, the another is the active or hover on desktop and tap on mobile. Then there are variants of how it will look on mobile and desktop, right? So these are variants, and then we write constants. You can see that like one of the constant is not valid now because we decided to let that go because that was not valid after few discussion. But you can see we write constant as well, like single item can't be a tab, right? First tab will be always active. We show the breakpoints as well, like more like if the width is more than 760, which design we'll be using, and if the width is less than 760, what we'll be using, how it will interact. So you can directly see here, like if we have only two tabs, right? So it won't be swipeable. But if you have three or more than three, it would be swipeable on mobile. But on desktop, we are using a chevron icon, which you can do for going next and previous. Then we create the interaction or state map. So here we cover the user, interface, and system, all of them. So as you can see here, like it's a user lands on the tabs. So what does interface do? Interface show them the first tab active, and then in that case, if they are clicking or tapping on any next step, what happens? System takes the feedback. System loads the data, and in few cases, if the data is not there or something went wrong, we show them that what went wrong or data is not available, why. And if the data is there, we show them the data within the selected tab. So this is kind of an example of interaction map with the constraints, variants, states, and all. And we do this for each and every component at Headout. As you can see my file here, you can see a lot of them. We do this for each and everything. Yes, let me know if you have any question or you couldn't
Yep.
understand any of this.
So I hope that gives you a brief idea of what that looks like. And I'm gonna do a medium post. I'm planning to do a medium post on the same topic on how to make these diagrams. Hey MJ, quick question, just in case you get time to answer this. How do you guys deal with too many choices provided to users? Hicks law in motion. Aha, like that's gonna be fun because we're gonna get to Miller's law. I'm not sure about Hicks law, but we'll take a look. So what is the next
Yeah, yeah,
question,
sure,
Murari?
sure.
What is the next question we have?
So the next question was, I'll come back to the what is this Wizard of None. I'll get
Yeah.
back to this question, but first we'll cover all the questions before. So the next question is, how do we get ideas for design iterations? How do we decide which one is the winning iteration? So how do we get ideas for design iteration? So it's quite subjective, but in case of ours, what we do, we check the competitors, we talk to the people. So the very best thing is talk to the people, because everyone is from different everyone has different specialties. They can give you ideas which you can't imagine, right? So people, I will say, first of them, then the competitors, then other industries, or you can say other domains. So let's say we are in travel, it's not just mandatory that you should look at travel. You can go to some fintech, to some other domains as well. So I'll say, yes, there are three types, three things: people, domains, and competitors. We get from ideas from. The next question within this question only is, how do you decide which one is the winning iteration? So the answer is like whatever we think after a lot of discussion and brainstorming that this is good for users, we choose that, right? So let's say if we are designing ratings and reviews, right? And we are having a lot of discussion, why this, why that now. So according to the brainstorming, and like a lot of people are on the same page, they think like this will work, we choose that iteration. And it's not like we chose this is the final one, we test that as well. So after testing also we like get a lot of things. So this is how we do choose the winning iteration.
You remember,
The
Murari,
third.
like there was a iteration we were looking at that in product cards, where I remember there was an interesting rating placement that we wanted to do, but
Okay.
then we tried that iteration and we realized, oh, we are missing this bestseller. You remember that? Or do you mind showing any other iteration where we had to pick between the two?
Yeah,
Any
yeah, yeah,
one
I do.
example?
Yes, yes.
So for
I'll
17
start
folks, I
sharing.
have to move the screen again. Just go join on YouTube. It's so much more easier.
Okay. So, so as you can see the ratings here, right? The placement 4.7, and how many users or have rated this, right? So as you can see the placement before, it was not there. The placement was for rating was below the title, right? So in meetings, like when we were having meetings, we decided why can't we keep here, because this place was looking off, and we could have like use it better. So some of our teammate suggested that can we use it here, and we decided to do that iteration. We did that. So this is one of the example of rating I can show. I am showing right now, right? So the placement was before here, but in our like what we saw, that how important it is, which one of the element user will see first. Is the rating really important for users? Is it not? Is the price is important? Like is the important thing for the user? And you won't believe, different users, different people have their own thought on suggestions. Some of them are like, yes, we won't go before looking at the ratings. Some of them were like, if the rating is good, we again look at the price. So many factors were there between ratings and price. So this
I
is, we are
remember
going to.
another consequence of putting the rating there was we had to limit what we could put in the L2, the specials and
Yeah.
attractions, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't put too many things there. Earlier we were trying too many things there, like specials plus another thing, but after that we limited that specials to just one item, just one booster.
Someone is saying on screen, everything on screen looks inverted. I don't know why. Are you looking?
Uh,
Maybe they are on Instagram. On YouTube, it is fine, I believe, or not?
is it are you looking, is that comment? Yeah, on this thing it will look inverted, so please join on YouTube. I don't know how
Yeah.
to fix, like the only way to fix that probably is for me to use my back camera. Let me know if that
Okay.
works. I'll try that. Wait, how do I switch my camera? Yep, okay, this is the setup I have to do now. So is the screen inverted still, folks at Instagram?
No, I can see like it's fine now. Before it was.
Okay, I'll have to do
Yeah,
slight
it's fine now.
adjustments. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. There you go. That's gonna be a view. Yeah, let's start, Murari. What was the next thing that we wanted to cover?
Yeah. So next thing was like, how do we, convince stakeholders or resolve conflicts?
You may want to
So,
stop sharing your screen.
okay, sure. Yes, it's on WhatsApp, people. So yes, the list is on there. The question of list of questions. So yes, the next question is like how do we convince stakeholders or resolve conflicts, right?
Oh damn, that's my favorite one. Like this.
So
You remember rating on Murari? You remember what
yeah,
happened with
yeah, yeah,
ratings?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, even the tobacco component as well. I remember the conflicts, like why this is good, why this is not, why we are not doing those things. So my answer for this would be like, we always look for value. We show them the value, how it is going to add value for users, for us as a company as well. So the first thing, how do we convince stakeholders is, you show them the value, right? And then we how do we do that? We show them the mental models, we show them some research, like whatever have done before, if anyone like done that thing before. So we show them that like how it is going to do. So the first thing is the value. Totally. So if you are not showing them the value, they will again discuss, argue with you. And if somehow you can show the value, if this is what we are going to add, you can convince them easily. Do you want
I
to add
want,
something, Siddharth, here?
yeah, and another thing that I wanted to add, sort of talking about convincing stakeholders. Remember that you're not going to convince all of them, but
Yeah, yeah.
as long as you communicate the trade-offs that we are doing and why we are doing certain trade-off, whether they
Hmm.
agree with that trade-off or not is not what I'm talking about. They might not agree that that's a trade-off worth it, because
Yeah.
personally they are more sensitive to rating versus pricing and things like that. But that's the trade-off that we have come to conclusion to after considering multiple other scenarios. Then that is what we go with, right? So there's no pleasing stakeholders, but there is informing stakeholders, right? There is keeping stakeholders in the loop, which becomes more important after certain kind of iterations. And somebody had a question: why is price highlighted, Murari, more than the product name?
Okay. So maybe it's for you the price is more highlighted, but we did like a lot of iterations here as well. So you can see the price highlighted for you, but for others it is not, because we did some usability testing till now. What we did, we kept the price bold because price matters a lot for the user. And again, we like we prioritize the items, how a user will look. We are again going to test that, but we prioritize those things. So price, rating, and the title are main important things, then the booster comes. For boosters as well, we highlight in a way that it catches the attention or it attracts the user. But yes, for now, currently price matters a lot. So yes, we can't keep the price like least highlighted.
Right. And Murari, is it a good time to show, let's say, the visual eyes, plugin outcome? So visual eyes is a Figma tool, folks, which can give you heat maps, predictive heat maps, and
Yeah,
that's a fascinating plugin. And that
I'll
will
show you.
change the way you look at these screenshots. It will completely change the way you look at them.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
So as you can see here, right? So these are
That is where
the
the eyes will go,
right.
that is what AI is predicting, this full plugin is predicting, where the eyes will go. And as you can see, right, can you like zoom in a little more?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you can see the image plays a major massive role. And then if you scroll down, in the layout, you thought the price was highlighted, but you see right next to price there is like a strike price, which is
yeah,
more highlighted.
yeah,
So again, this is not 100% true, but you can do multiple tests, but it gives you an idea, overall, whether all the items are falling within the attention graph or not. That is what we're checking for. Here's another screenshot. Maybe we can zoom in with another visualized screenshot of the,
yeah,
yeah, there you
yeah.
go. Right, so you can see the entire card is getting attention, right? That was what was more important for us here than anything else. So I hope that helps.
Yep.
What is next for us, Murari?
Okay. So the next question would be, do big companies follow all design principles? Should we follow them? Oh, it's a great question actually. So design principles are for following only, because these are the basics. These are the principles which makes design, which breaks design. But if you are asking about the big companies, I don't know what big companies according to you. Maybe it's 1,000 or more than 1,000 employees there, but I haven't worked with a lot of big companies. But yes, few of them are there which with
You work with Book My Show, Murari. Do you
yeah,
follow design
yeah,
principles at Book My Show?
and I was just going there only. So yes, we followed the design principles at big companies as well, because that's how you become a designer. That's how you solve things. So if there are
Yeah.
no principle, like someone recently asked, like what about the Hicks law, right? So there are laws, there are principles which makes you think like whether you should do this or not and why. So yes, big companies do follow design those principles, and we should follow them too. And yes, it's the mantra to design well.
Yeah, but another catch I, however, want to add there is, it's not followed the way you might be thinking about it, because one of the critical
Yes.
things is, it's not like you check all the boxes on all the laws. There will be one governing law that starts to overpower, the other one. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
in our case, we were looking at Miller's law as well. That
Yeah.
only 7 items, pieces of information can be held in the same line.
Actually, that is related to Hicks law too. So someone asked
Right.
before, right? So that is also related to Hicks law, the Miller's law. They are close to each other. So
Right.
yes, I'll add here like what happens in Miller's law when you have more than 7 items. So it's hard to recognize or memorize things, right? It's hard to make decisions. So Hicks law says that if you have a lot of options, it's hard to make the decision. So let's say you have 10 or 12 items. So how will you choose, right? How will you go? How will you reach something, right? So the same Miller's law says if you have more items, it's hard to remember, it's hard to see, it's hard to take decisions. So yes.
So yeah, that is how at times we have to evoke design principles to or laws to make a decision call to decide between two iteration. That is when they are evoked. Generally, we are working with heuristics, not necessarily laws. We're working with patterns, not necessarily, like it's not like you can design an entire app around Hicks law or like Miller's law. That's not how it works. These are governing principles. These are guiding principles which guide you to better choices, better iterations, and between two options, how do you choose? That is where they come in.
Correct. Someone added like here also, like how do you decide which rule to follow or revoke? So it comes when you are designing, right? So it depends on what are you discussing. Let's say we were designing the product cards, right? And few of the stakeholders were saying add this, add that, add this, add that, and we were like we can't add these many items, right? And then we showed them the Miller's law, right? So this is how we decide when and which rule to follow.
Right. So I hope that gives you an idea, folks, of how that works in bigger setups. What is the next question for us, Murari?
Okay, so how much should we rely on Medium articles? How true or false are they? Very interesting, very interesting. So according to me, people write their experiences on Medium, and sometimes they do mistakes as well, as I have done in past as well. So I copied few things and I pasted there on Medium. Someone just raised like you just copied it all over. So things happens. People do copy paste. People do fake things there, but most of them are very useful. The most important part is it doesn't matter how you are, like you are just reading or not. So if you are not bringing that into practice, right, you can't get to know whether that thing is right or wrong, right? So people do those case studies which are not their own project, or they haven't worked on this, but they do it for creating a portfolio, or maybe like showing others how they do things. So it depends on you what do you think it's a it's true or not. You just follow that, you check here and there, you google things, and then you can get to know. But according to me, what I have experienced, yes, most of them are very useful if you are bringing them into practice, because you get to know that yes, this is right or not.
Makes sense. And
Yep.
so I hope that answers your question, Murari. You want to follow the next question? Meanwhile, I'll get you the live questions.
Yeah. So the next question is how do product owners, PMs, and other stakeholders and CEO get involved in the process? Okay,
My
this is
favorite
again.
question, Murari. My favorite question. How do
Okay.
PMs, which happens to me in this case,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
CEO, the
Yeah.
Varun the
Yeah.
CEO, how did we get involved, Murari, in product cards? Like,
Okay.
what was our
Okay. So
involvement like?
yeah, to be very honest, at Headout, we don't have too many PMs, right? I'll start from there so that you are clear, right? We call them PMs, and we not product owners, but product managers. And Siddharth is one of them. He is playing the role of PM. So, yes, they are involved like at each step, you can say, because, it's very critical to make decisions, right? Without them they and I'm saying the critical decisions, not the general ones, because as a designer you can solve them whenever you think like something is really critical, right? You need them whenever you think something is not, you are not going to solve them before knowing deeper about them things, so you involve them, right? Because and the fortunate thing about us is our CEO is from design background, and it's a really good thing. He has a lot of knowledge about design, and he has a lot of knowledge about product. He built this product. It's a more than 5 or 4 years old product, so he has a great knowledge about product. So we can't just leave him there and we just go with our own solutions and all, like with our own things. So obviously we include them whenever we think it's critical. And for your information, we do a lot of reviews, a lot of meetings. So you can say it's frequently we meet, we invite them, we include them.
Right. Can you give us an example of like what an example of a question in around product cards that you solved yourself, and a question which required everybody to come into the room for us to solve it?
Yeah, definitely. So let me remind, like, yes, as you can say, related to that star or rating things, right? It was very crucial. It was very hard for me because, in meetings, people were raising those questions, why this is there, why this is that there. The another thing was booster logic, which I couldn't do alone, right? I needed the help of PM. I needed the help of CEO because he had a lot of knowledge. So ratings and boosters were the two things where I couldn't do things alone, right? But as you are saying, the visual hierarchy or the category or the wish list icon or the booster placement, those were the things I could like. It was not that much hard for me to do, right? But few things were really crucial, like ratings and booster logics. So yes, I involved them
Right.
there.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What's next for us, Murari?
Okay. The next one is, how do you get better as a designer? Okay.
How do you get better as a
Nice.
designer? By dancing on TikTok.
Oh, no. So I follow these three principles which I have learned over the year. So in the starting of my career, I was like, if someone is suggesting me few things, I was very like egoistic kind of person. I was like, no, I'm not listening. I'm just doing this thing because I think this is the best. So the very first thing is listen, right? The first thing is listening. The second thing is accepting errors. So if someone is saying this is wrong, you should accept, you should look after that, you should do some research and then come back to that. So listening, accepting, and let go the ego, because ego is the the most, it's your enemy. If you're a designer, ego is your enemy. All of these three I follow, I try to follow, and I'm getting better and better on all of this, with all of these, like listening, accepting, and let the ego go. So these three things are my mantra for getting a better designer, and all of you can get better, I'm sure, because I have practiced this and I know, yes, it works.
Wow, awesome. We have amazing questions coming up on YouTube as well. I want to take some of them. How often do you use tools like card sorting, heuristic evaluation, competitive audit, and
Mhm.
what other tools, such tools, do we use, and which one do we prefer?
Okay.
So we just to I'll just proceed in the answer, then you can take on Murari. That
Yeah, sure,
uh,
sure.
Avnika, we use audits a lot, and our audits are based around heuristics more than often than not. Card sorting as a methodology we have not been able to use so far. We haven't found a use for it so far.
No, we did it,
Uh,
Siddharth, while we were doing rebranding.
oh, right. I
Yeah,
completely forgot. We did card sorting
yeah,
and rebranding conceptualization.
yeah.
Damn. Yes. We did card sorting as well. So it depends
Yeah.
on the problem. Murari, do you want to take from there?
Yeah, obviously. So as I told you before as well, like we follow the rules, we follow the principles whenever it's needed. So it's we are doing our rebranding, right? So it's a tough time. We have stopped that, but again, we are like already achieved that goal. So in rebranding, we needed to do the card sorting kind of thing because it was very important to take a decision, right? So we did it. We spent like a week doing things, right? And one of them was card sorting. So yes, we do card sortings, we do heuristic check, we have we follow principles, we do like basic heuristics is like they are the basic things, and basic things make things like very good. So yes, we follow things, we do each one of them.
Cool. I quickly want to take Puneet's question. Do you guys use sprints? If yes, are they useful for you guys? I feel they can be highly counterproductive, especially the idea of sprint itself is not clear. We do not use design sprints. However, there are many features of a sprint that we have adopted in an agile process. We have adopted into our design process, including retrospectives, including design reviews, including documentation, including daily stand-ups. Right? We have a
Yeah.
15-minute daily stand-up. Especially, we started it after the entire company went remote. And the reason we don't do design sprints is if you were a services company doing a sprint, so because you have X amount of time to finish the project, kind of makes an ROI sense. But when you're building a product, right, like you want to spend as much time as the problem requires you to solve it. So that is one of the biggest reasons we haven't introduced sprints yet. Having said that, engineering follows their own sprints. So they do follow a 2 week sprint structure, but it has nothing to do with design sprints. Murari, do you want to take the next question from our list?
Yeah. So the next one is, how is me, like MJ, managing working from home and keeping himself motivated?
TikTok,
Interesting.
TikTok. I'm telling you.
No. I'm not using TikTok. I dance. That is for sure. So how I'm keeping myself motivated, right? How I'm working, like, so there are things like I use to follow the timeline. You can see, if you can see these sticky notes here on the wall, right? So these are the timings which I follow. So I wake up in the morning, I do exercise, I read, I cook, because these days the human beings are not there who were making food for us. So we need to do things like cleaning house, cooking. So yes, I have timelines. I follow those. I do exercise and I dance as well. That keeps me motivated, because when you are dancing, you think about a lot of steps. Like you think in design, both are related to choreography. In design also you choreograph, in dance also you choreograph. So it takes a lot of the part of your mind. You are busy with that. Also, recently what I have started sharing those knowledge which I have learned over the year on Instagram. Let's say whatever I'm reading, or what I'm reading in books or here and there, I believe I should share with other people as well. So I share those things on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter sometimes. So you can follow me over there. You can check those stuffs. It's really good.
Yeah,
It's
I'm gonna
honestly.
post the link for his Instagram on YouTube chat, and of course on Instagram you can just tap on his profile and just go to his profile and follow him there. I'm going to take another interesting question, Murari, from YouTube chat, which is, what are your views on gamification of product? Are you planning to use gamification for consumer engagement or retention? It's a product manager question, so I will just dive into it very quickly. uh, 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 I would love to know your views about gamification, Mari, but right now we are not using any strict sense of gamification. I mean, cashback has a little bit, gaming
Yeah.
element to it always, which is
Hmm.
projected retention. But there's no specific product build with that insight. No, not at the moment. What do you think about gamification, Murari? Is there any
So
app
I
where you've
think,
enjoyed it?
yeah, I think it's a, gamification is not just about the like digital products, right? It can be for physical product as well. Recently, few days back, I shared an image on Twitter which has, like, in washroom they kept some football in the, like, urinal, right? So that you can you can focus on that. Uh, gamification is everywhere, but it doesn't mean you should force, you should take gamification and put it everywhere. So if you don't need it, don't go with that. If you need that, it depends on the case, right? It depends on the solution. So currently, yes, we don't use gamification because we don't know whether we know that we haven't got any request or any need of them. But obviously, yes, it's an important part. Gamification, a lot of them are product are doing those. It's a good thing, but it doesn't mean you should use gamification everywhere.
All right. What is it next for us, Murari, from our list? We are coming towards the end of our question, for sure.
Yeah, man. This is the last one I got from the Instagram, right? This is, how did you learn to dance? How did I learn to dance? Oh, okay.
How did you learn to dance, Murari?
Okay, nothing. I was just watching televisions since, like, I was interested in dance from the childhood, since the childhood. So I learned it from looking at videos and all. And to be very honest, I know a few steps only, because few of my friends are always saying, "Bro, 4-5 step आते हैं तेरे को वही करता है तू." So it's like, yes, I am into this. I can do a lot of things, but how I learn, just watching videos here and there.
So that brings us to the end of the listed questions, my folks.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have some unstructured conversation. And
Yep.
if any of you have any questions, keep them rolling on Instagram or on YouTube comments. We will be taking all of them. If, hopefully, like, if you're able to get to them in next, we have we're going to close at 9:45. So we have about 7 minutes to go. So if you are able to get your questions here in 7 minutes, we're going to answer it. And
Yep.
meanwhile, Murari, I have some follow-up questions on product cards, right?
Yes. Yes.
You said nomenclature was an interesting problem for you, and there's an
Hmm.
interesting problem that we came there where we were naming full width card, right?
Right.
And then we
Right.
decided to not name it full width card, but decided to name it full sized card. Maybe if you can show us quickly like what that card looks like, and maybe explain quickly why did we name it full sized and not full width.
Sure, sure. That's an interesting thing. So as can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see. I'm just gonna get Instagram folks to see it too, and
Yeah.
then we'll have it, folks.
Yeah, this is Mon Naga. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Which one? The dance related question? Yeah, it was interesting, bro. Okay, so
So
yes,
full
with
size
the
cards.
full size card. So this is the full size card as you can see on the screen. Why we are calling it full size card, not full width cards? Because it was very confusing for people when we were calling it full size cards, because they were assuming that this will be full sized on desktop as well. So let's say you can see this is from here edge to edge,
Edge
you
to
can
edge.
see, right.
Right.
So people were getting confused that whatever we are calling full width cards, they will use the full width card on desktop as well, because they were assuming this is the full width. So but this is not the case. So this full size card is on desktop as well, but in the same format, right, like this. Maybe I can show you the headout.com thing. uh, so there you can see on desktop as well, we have few full size cards. When you search for anything, let's say I am searching for Disneyland, on other pages as well we have, but I'll give you an example for Disneyland.
It's
So you can
yeah,
see
there you
these
go.
cards. You can see these cards, right? So these cards are in sizes and everything, like these cards only, right? So that's why we called it full size cards. So usually we
Because they were
use,
right.
yeah, we usually we use 4 columns for the general cards, right? The standard cards we call them. But for full size cards, we use the 3 column thing. So that's why we are calling full size cards, not full width cards, so that people are not getting confused that it's edge to edge thing.
Right. So yeah, I think you can close your screen share, Murari. And I hope that gives an idea of how these small elements in and naming can matter, because when you say full width, people assume it's full width everywhere, or you say edge to edge, people believe it's edge to edge everywhere. That's why we went full sized, which is an abstract name, which means the biggest card in our system will always be called full size card. So that is why we decided to name it this way, which brings me to an interesting naming example, nomenclature example of what we did with the headlines. So we have headline sizes, right? You will have a headline normal, then small, then smaller, like even smaller, even extra small and all that. And then you have large and hyper large and hero, and you keep building that. So we came up with a simple naming scheme. The closest one that we wanted to use more frequently was called just the normal headline, and anything below it is XS, then 1XX, 2XX, 3XX, and you can just keep adding number and it will keep building scale downwards. And if you go upwards, we keep adding 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, 5XL, and then you can keep going upwards as well. So how do you measure success of a feature with you build or visual design? How success of a feature is a very detailed discussion. But Murari, can you speak about for you what does it mean for a design to be visually successful? Or good, visually good, good visual design.
Yeah, so the simple answer would be like whatever you wanted to achieve or give the user, like is it solving the problem for user, or the user is getting what they want, right? If you are achieving that, it's a good design, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a fancy thing, some ribbons and some those, right? Obviously it adds delight, but the first thing is, are the users getting what they want? So according to me, it's whatever, if user is good with the thing, right, they are getting what they need, right, what they want, and in within the specific time frame, they are not wasting time, right? So it's a good design. There are a
Right.
lot of description for good design, but according to me, that's a good design.
Okay. And we have a very interesting question, which is will be the I love this question from Instagram, which says, where do you gather all the knowledge to do these audits, or is it just experiential? Uh, so you don't need knowledge to audit. You need goals. What does the goal of the audit do? Is it just documenting and finding out what all use cases exist? That's a very different kind of audit versus coverage audit, right? Let's say you build a design system and you're now auditing all the pages, whether they are covered by design system or not. Or you
Yeah.
can do an audit where you are doing usability audit, where you will use heuristics to evaluate, what you call a heuristic evaluation, to sort of build that audit like whether it passes all the basic laws and common senses or not. Are there any breaking patterns? So that's how, depending on the goal of the audit, we decide what questions should be answered. So an audit is more like a question answer series, right? And you want to boil down that question to as objective a question as you can get to, so it's not confusing. So it's not like, do you like this or not? The question in audit, is it clear to the user or not? Is the visual hierarchy as preferred, right?
Yeah.
And all those, so those questions become more specific in the audit,
Yeah.
as we go on.
Also, according to me, when you are asking, is it pure experience or some specific sources? So sometimes it's hard to find resource or source, right? You have to do it on your own, right? And this is how you gain experience. So it's totally up to you. You just need to start, right? Start asking and writing those somewhere in document, right? So audit is something, seeing what is what is looking bad according to you, what should be, can be good, and then you present like, this is what I think, right? It won't be right or wrong, but again, you have questions, you ask, right? So this is how you gain experience, and this is how you create your own source when you can't find source anywhere.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining in both on Instagram, and thank you so much for joining on YouTube. This was the first YouTube on the channel, live on the channel. Thank you so much for coping up with the entire mess that happened initially. I should have tested it out. I thought it would work, but apparently you can't. Whenever you broadcast from a Zoom, it creates a new this thing, or I don't know how to do it. But thank you so much for joining in. This was a lot of fun. We'll do more lives in the future, and I will hopefully this video will become readily available. So please feel to like it and share it and subscribe it. People on Instagram, if you want to see the full video you missed out, go to that pinned comment right over there and click on it, and you can watch the video right away. Thank you, Murari. Thank you so much for joining in. And again,
Thank you
do
very
check
much.
out in the description. I'm going to link, if you haven't, just search on YouTube Murari Jha case study, and you will find the case study as the first result. Click on it, watch it if you haven't already. Murari gets into deep dive detail of what went behind building these product cards. And this
Yeah.
live was just to follow up with the questions. If you have more questions, you follow Murari on Instagram, on Twitter, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
bombard him. You spam
Yep.
his DM with questions, and you check out his dance moves. He's also on TikTok and on Twitter and on LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn as well. He shares a lot of content. So don't forget to follow him there as well. And if you
Yeah.
haven't already subscribed to my YouTube, why haven't you? I mean, there are 10,000 of you here, but there's only 1,000 of you here. Like 10,000 here, but 1,000 here. Like, how does that work? So please go and subscribe to that YouTube channel. It's free
Yeah,
content, doesn't
I'll
cost
say
anything.
these guys are missing the really good content over there. You should subscribe there, and also you can reach out to me or Siddharth anytime. We will be there for you. We will be helping.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining in again. Once again, good night.
Good night,
Goodbye.
folks.
Go Corona. Sleep well.
Take
Stay home.
care.
Stay safe.
Yep. See you.